For this video, we're going to look at texturing our house using a texture map. The first thing you're going to need to do is find a whole lot of textures. Now, cgtextures.com is really good for finding textures. You will need to create a free account, and you'll be able to download about 15 meg per day from that. So I found this old door here, which I'm going to use. I might just modify the model here and make a simpler door for the modeling part, but I'll do that in a minute. This here is my texture map that I've currently got. So I've looked through CG Textures and found bits and pieces that I want to use. And I've placed them all on separate layers here. Now I'm using paint.net. If you're using Photoshop, you can just drag them into the Photoshop file. If you want to edit them, you might need to right click on the Photoshop layer and click rasterize, and that will allow you to edit it and crop bits out. Otherwise you won't be able to do that. So I've got the end bits up here. I won't be using the rest of the image, but I don't need to delete it. Some wood paneling here, a door here, which I might not use, we'll see. And then roof, it's a pretty ugly roof. Some white paneling thing here. The Tudor bits, it's got windows on it as well, which I may use those windows. Looking at my model, I can probably get away with using those windows there. I might just have to look for another window. So if I go to here and type in window, I'm going to find a whole lot of different types of windows. Or if I scroll down here to the categories, windows, and derelict, no, maybe house old. Okay, so I'm looking for a window with 4 squares on it. That looks all right there. There's 14 pages of them, so I'm not going to spend too long. I'll just see if there's one that's roughly the right size or shape that I'm after. And if there is, I'll grab it. Let's just go to that. That one on the first page was probably the best one. Where's it gone? That's not the first page. That one there. Okay, so I'll grab that and I'll download that. Alright, so now what I'm going to need to do is find those textures. So they are going to be in my downloads folder, which I'm just bringing up over here. And I'll pop the door into here. It's going to come in on a new layer. It's pretty big. I will need to hit Control T in Photoshop to transform that. And I'll make this a little bit smaller. And I'll just bring that down there. Now I'm not going to be using this bit down the bottom here. And so what I will do is I'll just get over that bit there and move it. Or I might not use this door here actually. So I can move over that door and crop some of that extra stuff off that I don't need. So Control X and then delete that layer and then paste that cut bit back on. I'll just paste it on there over the old door. Now I do need to get my window. So my window's also been downloaded. I'm going to bring that in, add a new layer for the window. Oops. Add a new layer for the window, and of course I will need to crop the window out of there. So I can hit Control X, delete that, paste this, probably paste it onto a new layer. Paste it onto a new layer, make it a little bit smaller. It doesn't need to be that big. Keep in mind the actual size is pretty big regardless, so I'm going to try and slot it in up here next to that there. And I can make it a little bit bigger because I won't be using this texture, or I'll only be using that bit in there, the triangle. Okay, so now I've got my texture map, don't need anything in here. I'm going to file, save as, and I'm going to save it into, oh, it doesn't really matter. I'll just save it to my desktop for now and call it texture map. I'll save it as a JPG and then click on, save it into, no, where can we save it? Dig. I don't know what's in there. I'm just chucking it anywhere. Okay, so that's done. Click OK. All right, I'll flatten it, whatever. If you're using Paint.net, when you flatten it, you might want to unflatten it after you're done, if you're keeping track of it. Okay, so back in here, and this is where the magic takes place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that roof. We'll do the roof first. And I hit Tab to go into edit mode. Making sure everything's selected, I'm going to hit New. And I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to call it Texture Map UVs. And click OK. Then I'm going to go Image, and I'm going to open an image. Now the image I'm going to open is going to be that one that I just created. So it should be in the Dig folder, Texture Map. Okay, there, it's open. So with this image open here, don't worry about that texture. I don't know why it's gone like that. That's just the default. In edit mode, I'm going to select these faces. And for some of them, I will want to put some seams. So I'm actually going to go into the edge mode here, and it looks like I've already done it. Add seams around there. That's because I don't want it to be deformed. I want it to come out that shape. So I've added those there and there. In other cases, I'm not going to worry too much about it, but these ones, I want them to be like that. Okay, so then I can go select these faces and Mesh, UV Unwrap, Unwrap. It's going to give me that triangle over here, which I can then grab. Oops. Hit A to select. Don't worry that I can't see the rest of them. I don't need to see the rest of them. I'm going to hit R and rotate it around, upside down. G to grab, bring it up here. Scale it down so it's a decent size. Scale it in, so S and then X. Scale it in like that. S and then Y. That will scale it up a bit. Hit G, position it where it goes. And it's probably a good idea to put this into texture mode now so I can actually see what's happening. So I'll zoom in over here. And that actually looks pretty good, but I will just position it a little bit better and scale along the X just a little bit, and then G, pop that there, perfect. Okay, so that's that bit done. Now, for some reason, all of this has also been textured funny, but that's okay, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that anyway. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to hit B, and just draw over the parts I can see from this viewpoint. Mesh, UV Unwrap, Unwrap. It's going to give me a big cube there, which I can scale down. Place on there, scale along the X, scale along the Y. So I'm just pushing S and then Y. And then G to grab that. Goes on there. That's all good. Same thing with the other side. Hit A to deselect everything. B, select what I can see. Mesh, UV Unwrap, Unwrap. Go back over here. Scale it. And you can see on the left-hand side there, it's being textured live as I do it. So scale that down. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Then I'd want to get these faces here. And what I can do is box it and then deselect these ones that I don't want. So I've just got those. It's also giving me some on the inside. That's good too. So I might just go ahead and select the rest of them. Depending on what happens here, I may need to make some changes. Okay, so it's given me some kind of long shapes here, which I can go ahead and select. As long as they stay selected over here, I'll be able to see them over here. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and select all of these along the top here and hit G. Oops. I actually want them separate from the others, so I might just do that again, and I might select them manually over here. So I'll get that one, 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 that one. So that's that side. Mesh, UV Unwrap, Unwrap, and scale this. Oops, scale the whole thing. G, and rotate that, and scale down, hit G, and pop that there. Okay, so that's the end of the building. Now same for the other side. So this is a time-consuming process, but once you get started and you kind of understand how it works, it's very quick. So over this side, A, scale it down, G, move it over here, done. And then these bits inside here, okay, they're actually already done from before. So I scale them down, G, move them to there, scale it down a little bit more, G, move it to there. Okay, so that bit's done. This side. And of course, it's going to depend on your model as well. Hit A and select all that. Okay, so that side's done. Now for this bit, of course, I do have to do the other side, but I'll just do those. 3, 4. Mesh, UV unwrap, unwrap. G to there, scale along the X inwards, so it's more of a triangle. And then just scale the whole thing down. Hit G, position it there, zoom in. S, scale it down some more. G. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Okay. In this case, what I might actually decide to do is go in there and actually just draw. I'll see if it will work. If I draw a cut from there to there. Why didn't that work? Cut from there to there. And then hit enter. Okay, so that's done. And you see it's still UV mapped over there. And then I do a cut from there to there and hit enter, and then a cut from there to there and hit enter, and then a cut from there to there and hit enter, and then selecting that face, if I just extrude it outwards a little bit, okay, so I've actually got that mirror, that window on there. I should probably extrude it inwards, not outwards. Okay, so that face, extrude it inwards, and I could do another cut here. So knife, cut across here. Select that face, extrude it outwards. Okay, then I've actually got that modeled in there, and I don't need to worry about the windows. So that works really well. Okay, I'll quickly just do these faces here. Now I am going to do the whole house. If you think that you understand how this process works, go ahead and do it. If you need to watch or fast forward to the part, because it's pretty much the same the whole way through. I'm just going to record it. I'm not going to say a whole lot. UV unwrap, scale all that down. G, put it down here, scale. I'll just be basically saying what I'm doing. And so you can just have it on the background as you're working, because if I say something important, I'll let you know. So you can just push U and then unwrap. That'll save you hitting the menus down the bottom. The best thing that you can do with modeling is learn these shortcut keys. Oh, look, there's some areas along here. Now, in order to make your model look good, you need to put time into it. Okay, so the more detail you have in your textures and in the model itself, the better it's going to look. Okay, so you're not going to get a model done that's going to get you excellence or even achieved in, a couple of hours. It's going to take you a good 4 or 5 hours to do the model, and then the texturing would probably be about the same amount of time. So of course these are just practice tasks. They can be done quicker than that. Okay, so there's that top bit, and that's textured. It actually looks pretty good, the way that it's been textured. At the end of this video, I will demonstrate how to take it into something like Unity I might do that in the next video. So this is my next bit. This is the bit of wood here. I don't actually like this bit of wood here, but I will use it because I've already put it in there. It's a bit too red. When I go in and tab it, it's actually the same as all these. So now that I'm in here, what I need to do is select that texture map, not texture map UVs, the texture map that I've imported, the image. Okay, now this is a bit of a funny one. I'm going to have to do all of these faces separately because it seems to come in pretty weird otherwise. That's why it's doing it. So U unwrap. Okay, that gives me that. Now I'm going to scale this along that y-axis and bring it in quite a bit, like that. And then of course scale it down like that, and grab it and move it up here. And what I want to do is I want to try and line it up with with the grains without getting the seams in the middle of it. Okay, so I might have to make it a little bit smaller and along the Y. And don't worry too much about it. You're not going to lose a whole lot of detail. Okay, so there's that plank of wood there. That's actually the worst one I could have done. That's probably a better one there. Okay, and now same thing for the bits on the side. Now the cool thing about this is I don't have to do it once because all these others are linked copies of this one. So if you were making linked copies with Alt-D, then you've made life easier for yourself. Unwrap, scale Y, bring that right down so it's almost flat. Scale the whole thing down. G, bring it up here. S, oops, scale it down. If for some reason you can't scale it down, it keeps on scaling too fast, when you push S, just try moving your mouse away from the model first. Okay, so that's that side bit done. Then this side here. Am I going to worry about doing the bottom? In this case, no, but in your one, you should, unless you're never going to see it. So U, unwrap. Wow. Okay, so I might rotate that one first, and then S, scale it down along the Y. Bring it up here, scale it right down. Use the X and Y to lock it to different things. Okay, so there's that plank of wood. This here, this end face, oops, and this end face, you unwrap. Oh, there, it came out really big. I'm going to scale those two down. And I'm going to use some of this wood here to give those an end face. So if I put that there and put that there, okay, then they've got an end texture on them like that. All right, so that's that bit done. Okay, so it's looking pretty good so far. Now this one is not particularly hard. This one's just a bit time consuming because what I need to do is make sure, this is a bit tricky. Okay, oops, I'll select the whole thing first. Tab, select everything. And so the first thing you want to do is select everything and assign that texture map to it. That way you won't have to select it for each individual face. So mesh, UV, unwrap, unwrap. Now, here's where things get a bit weird because that's a rectangle. It's actually a flattened cube, which is why you shouldn't scale things in object mode like I've done here. You should go into edit mode and then bring the model down because unscaled, that's still a square, which is why it's coming up like this. So what I need to do is actually scale this down, and this is an annoying bit. Bring it down to here, hit S, Y, X, and scale it out that way. It's actually upside down, so I rotate it the other way like that. And then position it so that it looks right. Okay, so that's that part done. And then I've got to repeat it all the way around. So S, scale it down, small. G, bring it down there. rotate it the other way. And then SX, scale it out to a decent size. And I want to try and make it line up with the same height as the other one. Okay, so I may have to... that looks about right. And I'll probably just put the windows in and delete those windows from there. So now I go to this face, S, G, etc., scale down. So hopefully when you made it, you listened to what I said and didn't do what I do, and edited the object rather than, oops. Okay, so G, probably need to scale that along the Y a little bit. Okay, and then lastly, this face, SG. And then I've got to repeat it for the bottom bit as well, which is annoying. S, X, G, rotate, like that. Okay, it's that bit done. So I might delete those windows, or at least hide them with H. Because the texture map's on it. Now these wood panels here, lucky for me, I did the whole thing. So I go in and select A, select the UV that already exists, the texture map one here. And, oh, that's quite good. All right, somehow I've already texture mapped that. So we'll just leave that at that because they look fine, or they do look a bit funny. I might just scale them. Scale them a bit smaller than that. Okay, so there's actual wood grain that you can see it now. Lastly, I want to do this one down here. So I tab into that, hit A, and I select the texture map for that. And these ones here, they need to be pushed down here, rotated, scaled along that Y a whole lot, and then even more. So you want to try and get things matching up, and then along the X, no, that should be fine. Like that. Okay, this one here. Keep in mind that you don't need to do the top or the bottom. That's never going to be seen. In fact, you could delete the face of the bottom of it. So I'll bring that down. Rotate. I might actually just do this one and this one, and then move on. G, X, scale it out that way. SY. Rotate up the right way. Oops, it was up the right way before. Okay. Now this bit is a bit odd because I actually want to have a door there. So what I'm going to do is go into this face, into here, and cut it straight down there. Okay, so that side's fine. This side, however, I'm going to position like that. Now, because there's a wood panel there, I can get away with having that gap. I might bring it up a little bit so that it matches the other bit. Like that there. Yeah, so that looks pretty good. Okay, so I just put that cut in there and then I change that face there. I'll do this one and then I'll do the door. You can imagine what these might look like, and then I'll bring it into Blender. Okay, so the process is the same for all of it. And this is the fastest way that I figured out how to do this. it's up to you how you want to do this bit. If you want to have a window on the corner there, or depends on the textures you've picked as well, I suppose. Okay, so that's fine. All right, now I'm going to save this before I do anything else. And this door, I'm going to fix up this door. Okay, so I tab out of that, and I'll tab into that door. I'll just go into solid mode so I can see it. I'm going to make this a lot simpler. So essentially what I'm going to do is delete everything. Delete all the edges. And since I'm in an object, I can add a cube, but it's probably not a good idea. I'll make sure I'm snapped with vertex, grab it. Okay, grab that vertex, and I don't know why that's doing that. All right, and I'll bring that up. And I can start shrinking this in. So I grab that face and pull that in that way. If it starts snapping to weird things, you can hold control, grab that face, bring it in that way, and bring this whole thing, oops, bring the whole thing up, bring that down. Snap it to that edge. Take that in a little bit, like that. And now I want to inset this. I'm not sure how much by. I'll have to have a look at the texture map. So I'll select everything and put that texture map over there. So not too much, and I probably want to make the door a bit higher. So I'll grab these top bits here, bring them up. It's probably deforming the mesh at the back, but I don't really care because I'm not going to see it. And then I'm going to extrude this bit in. But not yet, because if I do it now, it'll make it harder for me. So that's my door. It's going to look a bit weird. I might just have to take it back into there a bit more, like that. Okay. So now I'm going to texture map this part. So I'm going to grab these four, whoops, Shift, not Control. Those four, U, unwrap. That gives me that door. I can hit A, scale it down. G, position it over there. Now I've got some kind of locking on, which I'll turn that off. Scale that down to there. Scale it along the Y. I'll turn texturing on so I can see what it looks like. I might do a box and just kind of grab these and position them in the right place now. That one's not going to look right no matter where I put it. So what I need to do is grab that separately over here, grab it and bring it up the top like that there, and rotate it around. Okay, so there's my door panels. And I probably will just actually edit this completely. So if I go into edge mode, bring that down like that. Okay, so I just get the frames on the outside, which look like that. This frame here, this face here, U, unwrap, and I'll scale that down. G, pop that there like so, and grab that edge by going into edge mode down here, grab it, pull it down like that. There's my door. I can grab that door, extrude it inwards a little bit, and if I needed to, if I wanted to, I could maybe texture map those a bit better. Okay, so there's my door. All right, so this is the model pretty much done. I save this. I'm going to save it as, and I'm going to save it into a Unity folder that I've worked with. So don't worry about this assets. I'll just call it new house. Save as Blender file. Okay, now if I go into Unity, These will be white, of course, they'll be a bit funny. Now Unity might decide that it wants to inverse some of the normals, it wants to make things a bit weird. So there's my new house. Put that into my scene. It all looks good, except where's my texture map gone? There's a problem there, so I need to find that. And I'll just find my texture map, which I saved to desktop, the dig folder, and I drag my texture map into here. Okay, so there's my new texture map. That's all good, should be. I just dragged that onto there. Should have dragged onto there, but it won't. Oh, there we go. And I just drag it onto, actually that's not the way to do it. If I look down here, I should have materials. And one of them will be called texture map, which is this one here. Or maybe that one there. No, it's this one here. I think it's that untextured one. So I just go back up here. I'll just drag that into the materials folder. I'm pretty sure it's this one. And I drag that onto there. Why is that not working? Sorry, that onto there. There we go. So that's just applied the texture without any difficulty whatsoever. Okay, and now if I wanted to, okay, I've got a directional light in there, but I want to play around with some other things. So I go window, lighting. Let's actually turn down the lighting intensity. And I'll turn off the skybox. Main camera, skybox, black, solid color. And I'll set my camera to, you don't need to worry about Unity stuff, we'll do that later. Okay, so there's my model. At the moment, the hidden bits have come back, by the way, so I should have deleted them, but they've come back, but that's all right. And I'm going to put a point light in. So I might put a point light just outside above the door. So if I go directional light, I'm going to change this. I don't want the directional light. Where is it? There it is. I'll just change the rotation to something normal. And change it to a point light. Now this is going to do a few funny things. I'm just going to put it above the door here. And window lighting, color. I just want to have no ambient light really. Can play around with this for a little bit. Ambient occlusion can be fine. Okay, so hit play, and I've got that little light there. Now, Unity does do real-time lighting, so I could actually, if I do this and change the position of that spotlight, see if I bring it out. Oh, that's going that way. If I bring it out this way some more, okay, so I can get different lighting and it will shade it. I might just move the camera in. I don't know why I've got this light up here. There's some ambient light source coming from somewhere and I'm not sure where it's coming from. So I could do soft shadows or hard shadows here, but you're not going to see the difference from back there. And there's my model in Unity. Okay, so it's actually in there. Turn the intensity up, down, whatever. It's got those shadows on there. Bounce intensity won't do anything with real-time lighting, unfortunately. I can turn the range up, play with that setting. So one of the cool things is you can write a little script that turns the intensity slowly up and down, maybe via a sine wave with some randomization in there. It'll look like a torch flickering. So you can model a torch, add a little flame, put the light source in the flame, have that slowly flickering like that. There's lots of stuff we can do with that. So there's the scene there. Not sure why where that ambient light's coming from. It'll probably be edit, project settings, player maybe. No, it must be in here, but I can't see where, because I've turned the ambient color all the way down, and it doesn't matter if I turn it off or on anyway, because the intensity for it is 0. If I turn it up, there we go. But that's weird. Sun should be none, really. And skybox, none. Not sure where the ambient light's coming from. If I delete the light altogether, there shouldn't be any light there at all. It should just be pitch black. But there is light here. I'm not sure where it's coming from. Ideally, you'd want to get rid of that and just put in our own light source so everything looks a bit more realistic. Anyway, that's the entire process. So from texturing, and you can see it looks a lot better in an actual renderer than it does just in the Unity editor. You can render, of course, in Blender, and it will come out a lot better than it will in Unity if you set up the light sources and the materials properly. But it also will take a lot longer to render. So there won't be any real-time rendering. It'll just be all baked rendering in Blender, and that can take a little bit of time. So I'm going to finish up there because it's been quite a long video, and pause that. So